Yeah, I am.
Here, I'll
But then you won't be in.
I'm not. That's okay. I don't need to be in the pictures.
Potter.
Yeah, he's another accuser.
We're in it. Yeah, that's us. We're us.
Okay,
And Emily.
we're gonna have to find the record of the trial.
Other Emily.
All right.
Take a landscape one. Everyone has to look
Okay, kids, this is picture one. Not bad.
I have like 12
Good.
already.
Oh, wow, that's pretty quick. I don't know how they do that. All right, let's go. We are ready. Is everyone ready? Call the, wait. I have to get this from my high school.
Are you recording, Becca?
Yeah, Katie's not here today, so I'm recording it.
Hi. She's recording.
Okay.
Annie's recording.
Katie Jr.
All righty. Members of the Athenian jury, members of the prosecution, and your name again is Socrates. Okay, today is a very momentous day in the history of Athens. Our citizen, fellow citizen, and old friend, or perhaps foe, Socrates, I'm not trying to prejudice the jury, is appearing here at the insistence of the court, and charges are being brought by the prosecution consisting of the poet Meletus. Is Meletus present? Who is Meletus? Oh,
Me!
Meletus and Anitus. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And you can be, okay. And now,
I'm Melody.
are you guys freezing or no?
No.
Are you sure everybody's okay? They're not getting toga freeze? No? Okay. Let's see. We are now going to begin. And who else here is on the side of the prosecution? Anyone else here on the side of the prosecution?
No, it was me, Emily. Emily, but I don't think she's here.
Where
It was
is-
me, Potter, and Emily, but Emily's not here.
What's the matter with Emily?
She's getting back from a trip.
Okay. And who is a member of the, who else is, anybody assisting Socrates? Well, she might need an assistant. All right, anybody, who else, everybody else then is on the jury who can ask a question at any time? Socrates, do you wish to have an assistant?
That would be nice.
Anybody here who would like to assist Socrates?
Oh.
Okay, young lady in the back.
Where's your toga?
Casey. Oh, she doesn't have a toga.
Up.
Well, you were in your snack though.
Take him as a go.
Do you insist that it be someone on a toga? You think it would be better to have someone on a toga?
We
We'll
discriminate
just have
here.
somebody give you their
I would
toga.
appreciate a toga.
Alright,
A toga, all right.
I'll go run and get my toga.
No, okay. We're gonna start though.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to start, okay. All righty. The charges that have been brought against Socrates are two. The charges are, not in chronological order, corruption of the youth of Athens. I don't see any of the youth. Oh, there's a youth. A youth from Athens. And the first charge, which may be the second charge, or maybe the first charge. We don't have all those charges too clear here. The first charge is that you are charged, Socrates, by the prosecution with impiety. Impiety. And you are charged with inventing or not believing in the gods and inventing demigods or believing in them or something like that. Anyway, and this is not to study. Are you guys okay? Everybody is all right? Anyone want to? Okay. Shall we begin? Meletus, why should Socrates be here today?
Which one of us is Meletus?
Both of you.
Oh, well. Why should Socrates be here today?
He has been super impious.
He's been really impious. He makes up his own gods. He doesn't believe in the same gods that we believe in. That's why.
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
No, strike that from the court record. Who's keeping a record of this court for the court?
Right there, scribe.
There's a scribe.
Get out your quill and your.
I know that's scribe
your
Tait.
scroll.
Okay, let's keep going. And what's the other charge? We know we stated
Corrupting the
it.
youth.
And do we have the slightest bit of evidence for that?
Well, there's very corrupted youth over there.
Oh.
Because he's corrupted.
I can tell just by looking.
He seems pretty corrupted to me, so.
No, I think you're right. Okay, the jury is going. Wait a second. No. Actually, he doesn't. We're gonna have to establish that. All right.
It's recording. The green line means it's.
I'm just making sure.
Oh my gosh!
Sorry.
This is wild. Is that us?
Yeah.
Okay. And anyone who wishes to speak may do so at any time. Just please raise your hand so the court can call upon you. Now, I, Sugarman, here since the year 399. This is the date, 399, before the Common Era, which is a long time ago. But not then. Okay? We're going to start. Okay. Socrates. It's strange to see you here in court. Tell me why you're here, and do you have a response to your fellow citizens, at least your accusers?
Well,
There's by the way, a third accuser, but we're not going to. It's not that important, so we won't get them. Okay, go ahead.
Is it good?
Socrates. Do you need a chair?
no, I'm good. I want to walk around.
Okay, you're gonna walk around. Oh,
She's gonna
watch out, jury. Okay.
She's pacing.
Okay.
Well, first I would like to clarify the impiety charge. I would like to ask you if I am on trial for inventing gods or for being an atheist altogether.
Both.
Both.
Did you get that?
Remember? 3 M's. That's 3 M's.
Scribe Tait, do you got the Okay. All right. Continue. What about the charge of impiety, Socrates?
Would you say it is possible for someone who does not believe in humans to believe in human activity?
Yes. No. No. Just repeat yourself.
If someone does not believe in humans themselves, do they believe in humans? Or if someone does not believe in horses, do they believe in horse racing?
No.
So.
Good work, Socrates, turning it around, huh?
So you say that I believe in spiritual activities, but I do not believe in the spirits themselves.
No, you don't believe in gods. You can believe in spirits if you want.
Aren't spirits the children of gods?
No.
They are. You're wrong.
They are. It's in the book.
I read the book. It's cool.
So did I.
Okay. So
So we all know you died anyways.
Okay. Wait. Strike that. That is out of order.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Meletus. We can't.
I swear that she was.
All right. Please refrain yourself from inappropriate comments. Let me just go back. Are you here? You're here. You know what you're here for, then, Socrates, correct?
They claim both blasphemy and atheism.
And beyond that, corruption of the youth
Corruption
of
of the
Athens. Okay. You will have a chance to defend yourself with or without assistance. You can also have assistance from anyone here. Would you like to have anyone help you? Okay. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, come on.
You come on up. Come on, if you're properly.
Make sure your toga is tied all the way.
That's right. No, we don't want any fallen togas. Okay, guys. Hi.
What are you wearing? Anything underneath your
No.
Lashes.
Nothing at all.
Sam. Excuse me. Prometheus.
I'm
You're-
clothed this way.
Okay. Everybody's not. Okay, good. Now, would you please tell us, Socrates, why it is, Meletus, we want a clarification for the purpose of the court. Either Meletus, or we can get an additional. We can get an Anatus, a Kathryn, it doesn't matter. Which groups of citizens have been, according to you, this is in your brief, maligned by Socrates? Which citizens have been unfairly criticized by Socrates? Or is it everyone?
Well, he specifically criticizes the great scholars of our day, and the most wise men
Ooh.
are the ones that he tries to tear
Do I
down.
criticize them?
Wait,
You're
that's,
contrary to them.
and who would this include? What groups have you gone, what groups is Socrates going after? Anybody? What? The
Good
Sophists.
citizen.
And please identify yourself, citizen.
Citizen, identify yourself.
Tyler.
Hilarious.
Citizen Tyler, thank you.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
Okay?
Citizen Tyler.
And the Sophists, but you're also implying that he's one of the Sophists, right?
Who?
Socrates. Citizen Kathryn, do you want to come up? or-
Katharinas.
No, okay, you don't, let's,
Tag me out.
okay,
Too long.
okay. Okay, wait, the Sophists, but haven't you accused Socrates of being one of the Sophists? Yes or no?
Yes. It's kind of complicated.
See?
Okay, we can handle it.
Complicated.
We can handle it. What happened?
What happened? Yeah, you're asking.
Yes. Are you a Sophist, Socrates?
Not in any way, shape, or form.
Preach.
From
No,
what
you're on
Can
her
you support?
side.
I am on her side.
You're on Socrates'
He's
side.
written.
That's
Yeah.
a statement. It's an affirmative statement.
Oh, okay. As an affirmative statement, this may be a very unusual trial. Okay. Let's continue on. Socrates, what's the difference between, why do you say that he's a sophist? Anybody, why do you say that he's a sophist, Socrates? What are sophists?
He teaches
Teaches what?
the youth about wisdom and how to speak and question.
Well, is that true,
Identify
sir?
yourself, citizen.
Thank you.
Living learning.
Our house coming learning.
I think that's Citizen Ryan, am I correct?
President.
He's actually president of the whole building.
You are kidding.
Yeah.
United
All right! Let's hear that. Okay, that's very good. You're president of the whole building? And in the future, we shall call, we may call upon you for a favor. That's possible, even necessary. We'll decide that. We don't know now. We're checking out. Okay. Now, are you a sophist or not?
I am not a sophist for two reasons. I do not teach and I do not accept payment.
Those are two pieces of very positive evidence. Do you have any reason to believe that Socrates does accept payment? All the Meletuses up here or in the audience or in the jury? It doesn't matter. Walking around Athens. Yes? No? Does he?
No.
He's a
I was just thinking
Huh?
that.
He's a
I have no money. So.
Is it oh,
How is it-
where'd you get that cool toga then?
That's once.
Okay. Citizen, now,
Jewelry.
citizen, please identify yourself for the court record.
Citizen Rubius.
Citizen Rubius, excellent. Citizen Rubius, yes, that is the court will note that point unless it's, does anybody contest it that Socrates is impoverished? Socrates, does that mean you have no source of income whatsoever? I would ask that on behalf of the prosecution. Don't you have a very wealthy patron by the name of Crito? No? You're not going, okay,
My defendant cannot help if the citizens of Athens are passionate about getting my defendant to teach them the ways the Sapphic ways. No.
Oh.
No, that's
Terrible.
Wait, no, I think that's okay.
Scratch.
We're gonna scratch the
Scratch
last
that.
part, but that's okay. We'll note that. So you're saying that whatever money was given, whatever was given to you was given by people because they think your work is good.
Which is pretty much the same thing as payment.
I never requested it.
She never
Same thing.
requested it.
Never
But they still
requested.
gave it to you.
Well, wait,
She cannot
were you paid specifically for? What would you ask? Were you paid specifically for teaching? Is that the worst thing in the world? Why should I do? I'll work for Sodexo. They're not paying anybody anyway. Fine.
Well, a gift is certainly much different than a fee. I did not request it, and I cannot be angry if I do not get it.
Very well said. The court will note Socrates' statement.
Put her on trial for tax evasion as well.
Which citizen was that? I can't see. Who was that?
That was Citizen Kevin.
Citizen Kevin.
Kevinius.
Citizen Kevin, are you trying to create some kind of revolution here? Introducing taxing the
Slander.
aristocracy?
We call slander.
Slander. Okay, we're gonna come back with that, but that's an interesting way. The court will take it under advisement. Okay. Let's go back for a moment. Socrates, you say, you have said in the record I have read, presented from the original trial at 399, or maybe not. You have a student, Socrates, you have a student by the name of Plato?
Student, yes, in that he listens to what I say.
But is he a student in the sense that he pays you?
No.
And what if he did pay you? Never mind, that's all right. We don't do that at that time in history. Okay, let's keep going. Would anyone like to ask Socrates a question from the jury? Anybody? Anybody from Athens? Don't be shy. There's a young
Citizen
Athenian.
Emily.
Emilius.
Emilius, okay. Sister.
Why do you go around questioning everybody?
Because it is my God-given task.
Ah. And which god? How did that come about?
Apollo. The oracle at Delphi claimed that I was the wisest woman
Oh man, okay.
in Athens, and I thought that this could not possibly be true, so I have been going around questioning people in order to ascertain whether or not this is true information.
Citizen? Please.
Citizen Cephalides.
Cephalides, okay.
If you are indeed the wisest woman in Athens, then what is it that you know?
I know that I know nothing. Unlike
Ah, very well said. Now, how can you know? All right,
heckling!
heckling.
Off with his head!
Which citizen? Oh, that's Citizen Matthias. Excuse me. We will have to call the bailiff if any more disruptions occur. Socrates is a very sensitive. You're not that sensitive.
I'm a delicate flower.
You're just a little delicate flower. Okay, we will continue on. What? Yes, you said this is so. This is your God-given duty given by Apollo, right? And you heard this through the oracle at Delphi through some intermediary. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he said that you were the wisest of mortals because you did not. You knew that you were aware of the limitations of your knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, whether you literally knew nothing or not is not clear. It's hard to know if one can know nothing. Isn't that true?
She has to know something.
Just to know something.
She has to know how to
You
speak.
admit it. You admit she knows things.
Yes, she knows.
So you admit she's wise?
Ah! Don't be noted. Okay.
Knowing things is different than being wise. Quiet in the courtroom! Knowing things is different than being wise.
And I would argue that if Socrates is so adamant that they, as a woman, knows nothing, I would argue that corrupting our youth with this lack of knowledge is pretty serious stuff. Because we had a whole.
What do you mean?
Isn't she
Oh
letting?
my gosh, that argument's never been made before. You mean, you're saying that she's making everyone know more nothing?
Absolutely.
Can she be
Oh my God.
condemned
Making
for
them
making the
dumber.
citizens of Athens think for their goddamn
Objection.
selves?
This is evidence of
Oh,
evidence.
excuse me.
Language.
Sorry.
Language.
Strike that from the
Control our
record.
passions.
Who is speaking? Okay, I didn't hear. We will strike that reference that may be construed as impious, please.
Impiety all over.
Titanius?
Yeah, even her defendant is impious. Just bad all around.
Swearing by the gods means that you believe in them.
Ah,
True.
But one can say by the gods.
wait a second. Question. And I'm going to address this to my fellow Athenians here. Or if somebody came from, I don't know, Winooski or Buffalo or Detroit.
Troy.
What?
Troy.
Troy? Are you from Troy?
I am from Troy, actually.
You what?
Yeah, originally.
Wow. Okay.
Conquered you.
What does Apollo
You didn't
represent by the time we get to this particular time, to the time we're at? What is he the god of? Of what is he the god?
Music?
Thank you, Rubius. As far as the court knows, that's correct. And he seems to have been, is that everyone agrees? The prosecution and the defense? Okay, that will be entered as an agreement that Apollo is the god of reason. So, Socrates, to say that Apollo gave you this order, was that the same thing as saying that reason instructed you?
My client is not an atheist.
What?
When my client says Apollo, my client means Apollo. My client's not an atheist.
I mean
And
both.
Apollo's not an atheist either, right?
They are one and the same. Do you disagree?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know. I don't have to make a decision. After all, I am the magistrate. Ow! Okay. Wait, I have to talk to my court assistant here.
That's the corrupted youth of Athens.
That was your laugh? That's very good, guys. Okay. It's funny. Okay. Everybody's doing extremely well. Let me see. Let's go back for a moment. So he knows that you know nothing, right? Or you know that you know nothing. And do other people assume they know things?
Mm-hmm. They consider themselves very wise.
What about the poets? What do the poets think they know? What, Meletus? Excuse me, aren't you Meleti poets?
We are poets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Poetize.
now poets are not thought to be involved in politics. Right. Okay.
We should bust rhymes.
What?
We were saying we should rhyme.
No, you don't have to
All the
rhyme.
time.
I like rhymes, but you know, if you go to the English department, they're not big rhymers. I shouldn't have bonked myself on the head. I think I've suffered a concussion and will be ruled ineligible by NFL standards. Okay. Yes. Juror?
Say I'm certified in first aid. It's okay.
You, note for court purposes, the juror Michaela is certified for
Caleb,
first
Wilderness first aid.
wilderness. Well, we're
can
not
take
in the
you into
wilderness.
wilderness.
I think that might be inappropriate. Okay, let's continue. Okay, wait. So Socrates, what? And is it true, Meletus or Meletai, that you have been offended, or your fellow poets have been offended and harassed, and your names besmirched by that of Socrates as poets?
Yes, we're
Absolutely.
very offended and hurt.
I don't recall that being what I'm standing trial for offense.
No, but Socrates, did you criticize? You do criticize the poets, if I'm not mistaken. What is it that they do know? You as poets, what do you know?
Everything.
Ah, okay, this is a setup. What now, Socrates? What would you say they don't know?
You don't understand your own poems.
Ah, you don't understand. What about your own poems? Their meaning, is that correct? Do you disagree? If you don't know the meaning of your own
I
poem,
feel that poems are meant to be interpreted, and everyone should find their own meaning in them.
I would argue that Socrates has
a subjectivist. Okay.
Don't put me on trial next.
She's a witch.
Wait, is that the Athenian Leo in the back who said that? All right, bailiff. Corrupt youth of Athens, whoever you are, take note, we have to have behavior in the courtroom.
Grounded youth, come on, you can do it.
Why you write things down?
You have to, no, you don't, we've already been written out.
Corrupted.
Okay, you're corrupted, yes. You're not corrupted. I'll decide if you're corrupted. Excuse me. Okay, let's keep going. Socrates, the poets in that sense, they're inspired. Would you agree? But you're saying they're not always able to act reasonably in terms of interpreting their poems or things. But you guys think, as you said, Meletus, quite correctly, that you assume that because you are inspired that you know everything. But you know a lot of things. You know about politics and piety.
I might not know everything.
Okay, a concession.
Inconsistency.
Inconsistency. Ooh.
I would make the argument that Socrates has
It's
no
annoying you, right?
well,
Yeah, he's pretty
but
annoying.
has no insight
Cheap
into our
and-
minds and our understanding of what is pious. And so taking what you say is no knowledge and forcing or thrusting it upon
The poor
as
youth of
scholarly, that is in no way helping the society we form to establish.
I never said
We have a question for the court, or for Socrates, or for the prosecution.
Listen,
Is
Depends.
it not indicative?
Who are you addressing a question to, sir?
In general, to everyone.
And you are juror?
I am.
Juror Mattathias?
Matthias.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it not indicative of human nature to not know everything, and then even someone as wise as Socrates would not be able to know whether other people lack knowledge in certain areas and whether that knowledge has to be
But
explained?
Socrates is
Well,
aware of
sir.
her own limitations of knowledge, and thus is aware of others as well.
I did not
Oh,
claim.
that's very good. Socrates, would you say that again, please?
I said she is aware of her own limitations in knowledge, and therefore is aware of others as well.
Right, and what would you say
The
to that?
great
Meletus?
limitations of knowledge that plague us all.
I don't know. Wait, I have to. Excuse me. I have to have a caucus with the court stenographer for a moment. I don't know how to interpret that. I think that's
those are doubtful noises. Those are noises that express doubt.
doubtful noises. Okay, you can put that down. What you know? What were these recording?
General doubtful noises.
Yes, there were general doubting noises. Okay. Now, anybody else have a question that would like to address? This is important. You've got to be part of this. You bring yourself into it. You're here. You can either exonerate this man who has yes or yes. And please identify yourself again.
Socrates speaking.
Sethaliades.
If Socrates is truly atheist or impious, then how could the god Apollo have put him on this earth to question?
Church.
Church?
It's an affirmation. What is this?
Is this from the Urban Dictionary or what? Church? You're out of it.
I think Socrates should respond to some of these.
Oh, okay,
I think
Socrates?
Socrates should respond to that.
Or,
Wait, is he Socrates?
No, not
responding or are we
Socrates.
responding?
Socrates was just defended. The
Oh.
prosecution has to respond.
Pardon?
Can you
I would
Oh, excellent move.
I would agree that it
Legally. Sorry. Pardon.
I would agree that it is a dilemma that Socrates appears in court today affirming that Apollo has come to her and said, him, them, Zim.
Don't worry about it.
And
This is
said,
Athens after all. I mean, go ahead.
you are the most wise. However, I would question today whether that wiseness has been misused or corrupted via the power they have established via the teaching that may or may not have received payment.
I'd like to point out that Socrates is dirt poor and on trial for his or her life. So how much power really can you say that Socrates has?
I think mental power has a lot more strength than financial in this case.
But mental power does not have influence over the polis.
Absolutely it does.
So you're not allowed to be smart in this day and age?
I think you're allowed to be smart, but I think the way Socrates is using said knowledge, whether or not it is knowledge, is doing nothing to
Do you say
help the
so?
society we have
Wait.
already
Really?
maintained.
Can I
Am I
actually
doing this intentionally?
Can we
I don't
blame,
think
can
it
we,
matters.
yes, go ahead, keep going. Keep going, this is very interesting.
Meletus, do you have mental power?
Listening.
Absolutely, I have mental knowledge.
Do you exercise it?
My mental knowledge?
Your mental
Yes,
knowledge.
with every thought.
Never thought. So then, why is the way that you use it better than the way that Socrates uses it?
The way I use it is conducive to a learning environment.
Beneficial.
However,
So you're saying that it's a learning environment. So you're saying that you teach.
no. I just poem.
We write and we
Poem.
leave our poems out there for people to read, and what they
You like
gain from it is not our responsibility.
So
What
if
they
somebody,
take away.
you're not actively teaching, people are learning from you, and if somebody happens,
Not necessarily learning.
Well, you
They're
said learning
reading.
environment. If somebody happens to say read your poem and take
Okay,
some
well,
sort of bad meaning, is
Me,
that your
Meletus,
fault?
does not agree with this, Meletus, on a learning environment. I feel like poets aren't teachers. Poets create art, and the meaning people choose to take from that art is up to
But
them.
the meaning that people, the interpretation that people have of your poems is up to them. So if they interpret your poem and it corrupts them, say, and they do something wrong, that's on you or not on you?
No.
It's not on you.
Because that was not our intended.
Huh.
Yes, juror Emily, and then, yes.
How has Socrates corrupted the youth?
Well,
Can we bring one up?
yeah, you have
Come
Wait a
on,
second.
come on.
The corrupted youth. Very cool.
He showed up
Wait,
naked to court.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, to the prosecution and to the defense. We cannot predetermine that this youth, just because of his appearance, is corrupt. It's true he is not wearing a proper Athenian toga. Look around this room. He is in the extreme minority. However, I shall say that we want to. Does Socrates, do you have anything to? What say you in the prosecution of his corruption? Is he corrupt? Why would he be? If he's representing all the corrupted youth of Athens, why would he be corrupt? Who corrupted him?
Socrates, and I would say at the root of it lies a severely shaken sense of knowledge and impiety.
Oh, wait a
Paul,
second.
is
Let
your
me
sense
see.
of knowledge shaken?
Now I want to. Can I address you? You can address the youth, and so we're going to find out if he's corrupt or not. Well, this court will take anything. We're an ancient court. Do you have a drachma you can spare? Look, he tried to bribe the jury. I'm kidding. Strike that. That was a joke from the bench. That was not fair.
That was a corrupt joke.
Corrupt joke. Okay, let's
You're
go back.
corrupting him too.
Wait a
You're
second.
definitely
Wait a second.
So corrupt. I don't understand.
Wait, we had a comment over here from this gentleman.
No.
Right here. No. Is that Tyler? Yes.
Hello.
Correct. Juror Tyler. Yes. Okay. Up. Yes. Okay.
So if you accuse Socrates of corrupting the youth, do you believe that he alone in Athens is corrupting the youth?
Well, it's kind of like
That's a good question.
a
It's not
chain
a-
effect.
Dominoes.
If Socrates corrupts one man, then you have two men, or woman, or
Who then
people.
corrupt more people? Who then corrupt more people?
And we are here to
And
stand
it sort of
against the
spreads.
domino effect of impiety.
So he's the source.
Couldn't you argue that there's
Zero.
something
But
in
how-
the
but do you, but only source, yeah.
Yeah, isn't there
do
something-
Do you believe that
He's the original source,
that-
and those he had corrupted have become their own
But
sources
if you
of
take
corruption.
Socrates by himself, do you believe that outside of his supposed or alleged pupils, who you say become further sources of corruption, just taking Socrates by himself, do you truly believe that all others in Athens improve the youth, as opposed to Socrates?
Here, we're going to ask. That's an excellent question. The court will note it, because it has not been asked at the pre-hearing called the trial. Okay? Juror Ryan?
Alright, if Socrates is the only one corrupting the youth and you guys are helping the youth, what does one man corrupting the youth do if everybody else in the city is trying to help them? One man is nothing.
Well,
compared
those
to
who are
everybody.
already corrupted are not trying to help them. Those who are already corrupted are further corrupted.
You guys are all not corrupted. You guys are teaching them the good ways. What does one man
Well,
do?
it's 2 to 3 over here.
Well, wait. Do you
Two
want some
non-corrupt.
assistance? Do you want to on
No,
Anatus?
We got
I'm
it.
merely
Are you sure?
illustrating
Anatus
the
is-
levels of
is on
corruption.
Anatus is on vacation. All right. Well,
He's in Thebes.
I was merely
It's a
illustrating.
Thanks for the
very good. Wait. You want to? Okay. Members of the
December.
jury.
No, we don't need.
No, we don't
Quick,
want. We don't
just for a
want any help.
moment. We're going to have an open moment, and we want to know, starting over here, you have a question for these possibly corrupt youth of Athens, or maybe he's not so corrupt.
The youth, do you believe in the God?
Yes,
That didn't sound very convincing.
He does.
I do.
He said
All
so.
of them.
Oh, hey, let him speak for himself. Don't put words in his mouth.
He's
said
a
corrupt.
Juror
You're trying to
Nielsen
corrupt him as he's speaking
will be
to us.
I'm
returning.
speaking the truth.
All right. Okay.
I thought you knew doctors.
Yes. Do we have a question? Please identify yourself.
I am Hilarious.
Hilarious. Okay. And would you have a question for the youth, or for Socrates, or for the prosecutors?
For the prosecutors, if Socrates is, what's the word? No. What's he corrupting?
Yeah.
Corrupting other people, and those other people are there corrupting other people. Why wouldn't you also trial the people who are corrupting others who were corrupted by Socrates?
Oh, so you're saying this is a case of selective prosecution?
Well, rather than punish those who have been affected, we're going right to the source.
Yeah.
We wanna get this
Excellent
done.
point. Excellent
If a
point.
doctor would treat the disease and not the symptoms. And in this
Good.
case, those who are corrupted are the symptoms. And Socrates is the
Disease.
disease.
That's pretty good, I think. All right, and yes, you want to follow up on that?
But that's like saying if someone's diseased and they're sick, you only kill the disease, but you don't quarantine the sick people, and you let them go out in the world and be sick.
Jeez, this is the most
It's
very sophisticated.
It's like
But we'll not
all
go-
of Athens is a body. Imagine Athens as a body, as one human being, and Socrates is the source of the illness in this body, and the corrupted youth are the
Yeah.
symptoms of the illness in this body. So if we remove the illness, then the symptoms themselves will eventually sort of figure themselves out and become
Yeah.
normal again, and the body will be healthy.
Socrates, what do you say to that?
I'd like to ask what the symptoms are and what malignant effects have become.
The symptoms
of
are
this disease.
Good question.
corruption and impiety,
Can
which
you
is
please
what
tell me
you're on
what
trial for.
corruption is?
Oh,
I'd say an altering from our past understanding and way of living and acceptance
He
and
said he
approval
believes
towards
in
the
the gods.
gods.
I see no discrepancy.
yes.
It
Very
didn't
good.
sound very convincing.
Well, that's okay. We're going to come back to that, Juror Tyler, and then
You guys,
this juror over here next to the court stenographer. That would be you. You have a question?
No.
You don't have anything you want to ask of this corrupt youth?
Juror Alamede.
Yes. Juror Maddy, excuse me. Tyler and then Maddy, then we're going back again.
So you guys, you sort of started going down this road. I think it would be valid to try and figure out what exactly this corruption entails. So for Socrates, I would ask, what exactly is it that you actually do study?
I'm not studying per se, but rather performing a series of inquiries.
And then what is that discipline called?
That sounds the same to me.
No?
Like
Court-
what do you practice as a philosopher supposedly?
It's called dialectic.
Yes, that's fine. You're a philosopher,
I am.
and that is different from a sophist. That's what you're asserting, even though you've been mistaken for one.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
In your view. Now, next, Juror Morrow.
For the corrupted youth.
Yeah.
Have you paid Socrates since he's been
I haven't
teaching you?
paid him and let him sleep in my place. It's kind of pathetic. I mean,
Has he demanded pay, or is
Nah.
this no?
Have you given
I've
any
been very tired. He's
any
very
sort
tired.
of food or
Yes, I did feed
shelter?
Did I ask
Well,
for
is
those
that
things?
not indicative of any sort of guest that's in this house to provide them with care?
Good point. Good point, sir.
Yeah, you'd have him offend Zeus? That's not very pious.
Well, there's a point where you overstay your welcome.
Well, who said he
Well-
was saying it?
I think the youth's welcome is up
Okay, guys.
For himself.
Yeah, wait a second. Juror Morrow, you want to continue on this? Juror Adams?
I'm good.
What?
I'm good, thank
You're
you.
good. How about Rebecca of Chicago?
Not at the moment.
You're going to pass. You reserve the right to come back and to take up the argument again. Juror Ruby.
I will pass also.
Now, the court wishes to hear your opinion.
On
On whether or not
anything?
this what else do you want to know? What is there anything you could say that as to why Socrates might be innocent of the charge of corrupting the youth?
He thinks that he's better than everyone else.
Do you have any proof for that?
Is that true,
But
Socrates?
You go around trying to prove that everyone.
Can you take the opposite position now?
Yes.
Go ahead, do it.
Everyone else thinks they're better than you.
Wait, isn't there somebody missing? Is he the only corrupt youth? This poor fellow.
You should see Plato.
I understand he was sick from a little thing he wrote, and it probably will be preserved for a short while. It's called the Apology. Let me ask you, anybody else have a question? Yes. You please identify yourself.
Alisonius.
Alisonius. Okay, Alisonius. We dig it. Go ahead.
So for you guys, what is your definition of corruption?
I think that's already been answered, hasn't it?
Well, I just need.
You want
To clarify
a clarification?
an
Go
earlier
ahead.
point.
What? Clarification,
Clarifying
please.
an earlier point that we made. Corruption is a corrupted individual is somebody who is not adding in a positive way to our community, our body. Somebody's hurting our body and not helping it.
Do they have to be hurting it, or can they just be not adding in a positive way?
I think that would hurt.
Oh, excellent exchange. Very high level.
Yes.
Thank you. Juror Danny.
What are you adding to the community's positive by trying to kill this man who just is some 7-year-old grandfather?
What? 70
We actually are not trying to kill him.
You're an
We're
old man
putting
now.
him on trial.
No, not that. I'm talking about Socrates.
I meant.
7-year-old father.
Oh, that's right. You're Socrates.
We are
And I'm not.
If we
Okay.
were trying to kill him, we'd take him into a back alley and
Wait a
You admit to
Excuse me.
I'm saying we're
Excuse
not
me,
trying
that
to
will
do
be
that.
stricken from the record.
Everyone
That's
knows.
ahistorical. Our prosecutors do not engage in that kind of
Exactly.
activity.
That's why we, like civilized folk, brought him to trial.
Socrates
What do you
himself
think
said
this is, Socrates? I mean, not you, Socrates. Meletus, you think we're in some movie a couple thousand years from now? I never wanted you to be. I never wanted you to turn out like this, Meletus. I wanted you to be Governor Meletus, Senator Meletus. You know what I mean? Okay, we'll come back to it. Go ahead. Oh, doing this for the people. Go ahead. It's your title.
I feel like it stands to reason that in order to prove that any youth has been corrupted, there needs to be evidence that that youth itself, whether on an individual or on a group basis, is making a negative impact on the community of Athens. Is there any evidence of that the youth that's come into contact with Socrates is no longer operating on a strong moral compass?
Well, they aren't no longer operating.
They aren't no longer.
Are no longer operating. Socrates, thank you. On the strong moral compass of the societal values we have previously established.
Do you have any like
Yes.
anything that shows
Well, what the youth do is the youth are taught by Socrates, and they take his manner of questioning and corrupting and turn around and use it themselves on other people.
Rebecca Averos.
If the youth flock to Socrates, is it really Socrates' responsibility to not teach them? Or?
I don't
wait. The court will
No, no, no.
note, the court will note that
Empires.
comment, please. It seems important to note.
I don't
Does
think-
the youth flock to you? Are you responsible for them flocking? Do you give candy bars or what?
Can I comment?
Yes, go ahead, Meletus.
I would just like to say that I don't think it matters whether he intentionally Shim intentionally brings the youth to Shim, or whether they come to Shim of their own accord.
Shim, I get it. She, him. What a genius
But
I am. Go ahead.
I think what matters is the effect that she is having, whether or not it is intended. It's still happening.
And are the youth are the youth at all responsible for their own corruption? Are they not thinking for themselves?
Excellent question. Excellent question. Note that down, please. And yes, one moment. I think, did you finish, Drew Nielsen?
I get a little distracted, and I don't really remember what I was trying to say.
What by whom were you, or what were you distracted? Was it a fly?
I was just kind of went off into like some 80s movie monologue that confused me a little bit.
Oh, excuse me, that was 70s.
It's all the 80s.
Okay, let me go back and ask a question pursuant to Juror Adams. We'll come back. Excuse me, if Socrates, don't you want to ask where the rest of the youth of Athens are? Or why they're not here to complain against Socrates?
You think
Oh, the prosecution might ask that.
Oh, well, I would think it was obvious they're corrupt. Why
Oh,
would they?
well, why aren't their parents here?
Well, the sad thing about corruption, Senor, is that
Senor, good sir.
it has permeated through our society
It's
by
spreading
no
to
other
their
cause
parents.
than this man woman. Socrates.
Wait a second. Are you saying that this poor fellow, that his parents are also corrupt?
He
and they-
corrupted his parents because Socrates corrupted him.
Parents are dead.
Well, we
corrupt or maybe
best
even
side
worse
to
than a
get
maybe
that.
even worse person.
Juror Rebecca?
Impiety.
No, not you're juror from Brattleboro. And you are?
Carrie.
Juror Carius. Go ahead.
Follow-up question for Meletus.
Meletus 1 or Meletus 2?
1.5.
Doesn't matter.
Meletai.
The Meletai.
Why do you feel it's your duty as poets to speak for all of the corrupted youth of Athens? Why does that fall to you?
Well,
So, good- excellent question.
Okay, I feel like
The stenographer, the court stenographer will note that.
I feel like we're not speaking for the corrupted youth, we are speaking for those who are non-corrupted and would like to see a positive change in our community.
Is nobody speaking for these poor, as you say, corrupted youth then?
Yes, he is.
Is
He's
nobody
right here.
on their side?
He's right here.
Are you
Wait.
leaving them behind?
No, he's speaking for them. He's right here.
Wait a second. Juror Tyler. Go ahead.
I had a question for a Meletus, just on something that you mentioned a couple moments ago. You say it doesn't matter to you if this corruption by Socrates took place intentionally or unintentionally. Shouldn't unintentional negative activity be corrected rather than punished?
It could be corrected, but Socrates himself has said that there is no way that he would continue on without he would never stop his teaching and stop his pursuing of whatever he's trying to pursue. He's said that many times.
That's because I have not yet been corrected. You agree that this is the improper venue for someone.
Yeah, you don't bring a guy to court to correct him on his unknowing mistakes.
Well, we haven't decided on his
Good question.
No, you
Socrates,
talked him
did
out.
you or did you not knowingly corrupt the youth of Athens? Or engage, did you knowingly or not, or unknowingly, or did you not do it at all?
Well, I of course would initially argue that I did not do it at all, but for the sake of argument,
Yeah.
I would say that it was unintentional, simply for the reason that the wicked are wicked not selectively, but to everyone, and I would not want to surround myself with those who are wicked.
Juror Michael. Vignetti. You're not Michael? Did you have a comment on this?
Yes, I was wondering how are they gauging this corruption, this so-called corruption?
And that's excellent. This is by the standards of the greater borough of Burlington.
Well,
No, that's wrong. Athens. Juror Ruby.
If all of the youth who have
been to see Socrates, have willingly chosen to come and partake in his conversations, then have they not chosen to be corrupted if he is deliberately a corrupt
Oh, that's an excellent question. That would go for. Would you agree with that, Socrates?
Certainly, I'd say if I am indeed wicked and they are coming to me, they must have already been wicked.
Another question, Socrates, if I may follow up. How do you know that you didn't you're putting your tug away so soon?
It's
a borrowed one?
It's a fitted sheet.
What?
A little bit.
Are we gonna have we should have
We have two naked
It's futuristic technology for that.
Okay. We're not gonna press
No,
that point.
I'd say it's retro, actually.
You know,
As in
it's
vogue
so
about
57,
3 years
50, what is it, 73. Okay, thank you. The two Rebeccas, are there two or are there one? Rebecca of Stornberg, do you have a comment you would like to, would you have a question you would like to address to Socrates as to whether or not he corrupted the youth voluntarily or involuntarily? Or any other question? Not at the moment. All right, next to you is?
Can I also pass?
Yes, you may. Mary of Washburn?
Going off of the corruption question, by saying that Socrates has corrupted the youth, do you assume that the youth are also impious? Is that what you're implying? And if so, how so? Because he said he said that he believed in the gods.
Leo of Middlebury. Leonidas. Thank you, Jeremiah. Go ahead.
What is the use of prosecuting Socrates if the children are already corrupted? They won't just change their ways.
We're not going to
It's
give
too
up
late.
on our society, sir.
Our youth are very young and impressionable, and just because he has impressioned them in the wrong way doesn't mean we can't re-impression them in the
Give
right
up.
way. Give up? We'll never give up on our body.
Our political
We have to
body.
love ourselves.
Body politics.
Our body of our city. Remember, our city is body, and he's the seed. No, I take it. I like it.
I've heard this question asked, I think, twice now. I still don't feel like it's been properly answered. In what way has the youth been corrupted? Like, what is the proof that the youth is corrupt? What like specific actions has the youth taken to demonstrate that they are corrupt?
The youth have been mimicking Socrates and doing what he does to other people.
And you
question
what?
Why is that corrupt?
They're corrupting other people.
How? Asking questions?
Did they ask any? Did they not? We have a record here that they shamed not only the poets but our wonderful politicians. Is that possible? Socrates, don't you think the politicians are the most powerful of perfect of mortals? Or not both?
Well, obviously they are. I would not dare to disagree.
Oh, except for what? What do they
Except-
think? What do have they made a confusion?
They are under the impression that they are wise when they are in fact not, and that ignorance cancels out any knowledge they may have.
And why do they think that, do you think? Anybody? Yes.
Because they may be skilled or wise in one particular field.
That's the craftsman.
So
But I mean, here where do they think? Where do they derive their sense of yes?
From other people.
And because in that sense they're more powerful, aren't they? So if they're more powerful, don't they think they're wiser? Does that necessarily follow? Yes, Socrates Jr.
They fail
that
to
Plato?
attribute their success to the gods, which is in itself impious. If they were pious, they'd realize that all of their success and all their power comes from.
What do you think about that? Anybody?
By that argument, does your lack of knowledge reflect the gods?
My lack of knowledge.
Or a lack thereof?
My lack of knowledge reflects the fact that no man has true knowledge, because true knowledge belongs.
How do you know that? If true knowledge is not at our mortal
And
level.
also, you know nothing, remember? But you said you know nothing.
That's a good one.
Nothing
Rebecca
except
of
for
Chicago.
Well, if true knowledge belongs to the gods, then why does Sophocles question at all? Why doesn't he just accept the world is as it is because the gods made it so?
Because it's my gift given to me by by Apollo. Apollo has tasked me. Apollo has tasked me to question, so who am I to say no?
To remove delusion and illusions in the minds of the people.
And confusion. What is this? Is not a poetry rhyming guide.
Yes, we're the poets
And
here,
contusions,
okay?
right? And illusions. Okay, that was a good question, wasn't it? Can we go back to the question? What was the question?
How are you corrupting the? How are you corrupting the youth?
We already did answer that. We've answered that like 5 times.
You
But you
said-
answered it by saying that the corrupted the youth by letting them
Well, didn't you do
corrupt
the
other
sa-
people. You have not yet answered the crux
Okay,
of the issue, which
okay.
is what is the corruption?
Socrates has corrupted our youth by putting his beliefs, or rather lack of beliefs, upon them, and
But
they
isn't
are
she
sharing that.
technically just uncovering the impiety of our politicians?
But we're talking about the youth, not politics.
Isn't she? She's uncovering their impiety by because if they're arguing that they know more than the gods or that they know what the gods know, is that not impious?
We don't know. This is so complicated. I would say this to the jury. We're going to break this into 2 charges. We are first going to. Does anyone have any last comment on the corruption charge? Oh, what about? Wait a second. I don't know if this is corruption, but what did you say to the Socrates? A question. I have gotten some complaints from some of our noted craftsmen in Athens about you. And they, as we all know, can do a variety of things that other technicians cannot. Why? What did you suggest to them might be their limitations?
The knowledge of that which is outside of their field.
Ah. And they don't know that necessarily?
I don't think being knowledgeable in one area leads to a generally knowledgeable person.
I see, but do they not know that?
They consider themselves wise.
Because they
in
have
general,
expertise.
Because they have skills.
You mean just because some of our Athenians are great baseball? No. That's a little anachronistic. Are great discus throwers? It doesn't mean that they can throw an argument further than the next fellow? No, that's not good. Let me ask it another way. Could Socrates be right about this? Meletus?
About what?
About his criticism
about
of
that our craftsmen are not
his criticism of the craftsman.
Well, I, from a personal standpoint, would say that assuming there's a limitation to said knowledge of any individual is in itself an insult. I think we of the poetry writing squad
Squad.
we poets are adamant that knowledge should be something shared and accepted and built upon rather than torn down, rather than negated, rather than second guessed.
And it's unfair to say that just because the craftsmen have most of their knowledge in one field, but they know nothing else, and it's not fair to them to completely discount their wisdom in that field.
Rebecca Adams?
But did you you just said that knowledge should be shared, and is Socrates not sharing her knowledge?
A lack thereof is what
Socrates knows nothing, remember? Socrates said that
Okay.
she
now,
knows nothing.
Wait, ruling of the court. Having listened so far, we've spent most of our time on one of the 2 charges, that of corruption of the youth. For that reason, since these charges are distinguishable, we're going to separate them into 2. One is corruption of the youth, and the jury shall be polled on that separately. And the other, the second, is on that of impiety. So until we reach a decision on the charge of impiety, what again is the prosecution's main point?
That
Or there are several points, so we can take as many points as you like.
Well, one main point is that Socrates does not believe in the same gods as the rest of us.
But doesn't he say he got his ideas from Apollo? Isn't that your god?
I would argue that the validity of that statement is questionable, and that is why we're here today.
It's very easy to say things.
So you're challenging him about Apollo?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't think that Apollo really said that?
I would say that if Socrates is adamant that they know nothing, that applies to all realms of their interactions, gods or mortals.
And
or,
including his
yeah.
statement that, oh, you mean practically knows nothing. Zephyr couldn't know that he heard, that he was told by the oracle that he knows nothing. Is the oracle present?
Yes.
Where is that?
Wait,
Where's the oracle?
Oh, I have him. I have him.
Oh, no.
Speaking in Oracleese. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Did you or did you not say that to Socrates? Oh! Said he said it. But did he mean it? That's another. What?
Closed.
Again, if Socrates knows nothing and is asking us as a population to believe that in this trial, I would say it's either that applies to everything or that is false, and therefore we can question the Apollo interaction.
I would like to make a point that when I say I know nothing, it is a figure of speech in that human knowledge
Go ahead.
is so small in the realm of complete knowledge, and I apologize for my metaphorical use of language, but I figured the intelligent company present might be able to follow.
Ah.
I mean,
I think
we're in a
that's-
court of law,
Not
girl.
fall for your sophist tricks.
Wait a
We're
second.
accusing him of
Socrates, that is quite enough. I wanted to say, are you going to put this court on trial too? Yeah.
What is going on here?
Wait a second, go back, we had some questions in the back. Matthew, Matthias, and who was speaking? Go ahead. Okay.
I have a question for Socrates. In your apology, you mentioned how it's better to give your
What? Sorry?
that it's better to give advice privately than to interfere with public affairs. But is it not your duty, if you have some sort of term of enlightenment, to spread this to the government and people so that we can create a better Athenian society?
I think we can all agree that if I were involved in government, I would be dead by now.
And did your diamond oppose you in this trial, coming to this trial, that little voice inside of you? What?
Not a word, not a peep.
Not a peep? Nothing. So you feel all right as having come to and said what you wanted to say? And by the way, Socrates, where are your children? Why aren't they here pleading for you?
If your youth care for you so much, why are they not here to defend you?
Because I respect all of you so much that I would not use such
I think we
base
have some
tactics.
future attorneys of America here who are in another country. Excellent. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, let me just ask you, the court wants to ask a couple of questions. Socrates, you said that you are working in the service of the God of reason, correct? And yet, you also, what happens to the influence of all of the other deities? Has that been diminished now?
Certainly not. I think it's common practice for Athenians to choose one patron.
Right, and how about for the patron to choose now? Same thing?
Same thing.
Okay, then let's continue on just for a moment. You said in an earlier interview that piety is that which is pleasing to the gods, all the gods. Is that correct? Or maybe that was Euthyphro and you agree.
Euthyphro did say that.
And you agree.
Certainly, yes.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Supposing that you were to disagree with, on behalf of your fellow Athenians, that you're quite familiar with our great patron and the great thespian Aeschylus, correct? Okay, well, Zeus in that particular portrayal, would you say that he was just or not just? That's a tough one. That will be noted, tough one.
I think our definition of justice comes from the gods, and therefore the gods cannot act in any way that is not just.
So,
That's also a play written by a man.
oh dear, I hadn't thought of that. Just a second.
It has been established that that piety is pleasing to all the gods, and that the gods do disagree. So I would further question whether Apollo's coming to you was unanimous in consent from all of the gods.
Closing statements will now be heard. Closing statement by Meletus. We don't have a great deal of time, so we're going to have to confine this because we have to have you go out for a moment, and then wait two times, or at least one time to make our determination.
Do we say our requested sentence now?
Yes, you could.
Well,
Socrates first then. What do you, Socrates, we haven't found, you got a sentence, you have to distinguish between the verdict and the and any possible punishment or reward. What do you want to say? Socrates, you want to reaffirm, or do you not want to reaffirm that Socrates is guilty of both charges?
Yes.
We'd like to reaffirm that, yes.
And Socrates?
I'm guilty of neither charge.
You're guilty of neither charge, and would you like to throw yourself on the mercy of the court, just in case the
Would
sentence
you like
is
to beg,
harsh?
complete a little cry?
No, I don't think there's any place for that here.
Live free
What about
or die.
Wow.
New Hampshire.
Live free or die. Well, they could have made it a little less extreme. They could have said, live mostly free or suffer greatly. But that wouldn't make a catchy license plate, would it?
Live mostly free or suffer greatly.
All right, I will ask the Socrates team and the prosecution team to retire outside the door for a moment.
Thank you.
And we will call you back in.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, thank you very much. You guys did great. We think, because they're actually not the real. Okay, I want to know what you, wait a second. How many of you, I think they overall did a very good job, but we're not interested in evaluating just them. We want to know about the arguments. How many of you think that Socrates, the evidence from the apology or from what was said here, shows that Socrates was innocent of the charge of corrupting the youth? At some account. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. How many of you think he was guilty? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, then we're going to note that 17 to 5, minus the people who were outside, which I think is 5. That would make 27. That means a few people are not here today. Well, which is shocking, but okay. Now, on the more complicated charge of impiety, how many of you think that Socrates is innocent? How many of you think he might be guilty, that he is guilty? Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many of you think he's innocent? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is it 10? What was? Let's go back over that again. What?
It's tied.
Wait, no, they can't be, because then someone, did anyone not vote this time? Let's go back over it. On the charge of impiety, how many of you think that Socrates is guilty? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many of you think he's not guilty? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
You missed me.
I think I got you. 13? 13 to 10?
Yeah.
You know what I think? I'm going to subdivide that question. Why might you think Socrates? Oh, we don't have time for that. This will be interesting. So then he'll get off. Wait, so you can't vote? You're the stenographer, the court stenographer.
I didn't vote to begin with, and then I'm.
Then you voted on this one. Yes, sir. What? You're swatting a fly. Like Socrates. Wait a second. Let's go through this one. I think, so the evidence, what was the vote the first time?
17-5 not guilty.
And the second one is very close.
12-10 not guilty.
We better take it one more time.
Am I voting or not voting?
You're not voting. How many think Socrates was guilty?
Which one?
Impiety. You may change your mind. One,
Not guilty?
guilty. Mary, what are you voting?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. One, how many? One, two. It's getting smaller. Wait, no, stop. Not guilty, how many?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Of the charge of impiety. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, guilty. Can I vote? No, but then you get to vote.
You can't vote.
That's not fair, is it? 1, 2,
Can the youth?
1, 2, 3. What about the youth?
No, he can't vote either.
He's corrupt.
He's not over 30.
Who said that? Anyway, let's see. Guilty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's the same, right? He's not. Okay. By our evaluation, he is, by the slimmest of margins, not guilty. Correct?
Of impiety.
What?
He is not guilty of impiety.
Not guilty of impiety. But I think he was. But that's my decision as part of the court. But I will not overrule you. And history will have changed.
You can find him guilty, but not find him need to be condemned to death, right?
Well, he wanted that, but then he provoked them. Remember how he provoked them? What did he say his punishment should be?
He said
He doesn't have any money to pay for it, so you might.
He wants free meals in the Parantium. Okay, bring them back for.
Wait.
Bring them. Yeah.
Are
Go ahead.
we re-voting on the question of corrupting the youth or not?
No.
Okay.
No. We're going to leave that as is. I think that they never established that. They didn't bring in their parents. They didn't bring. Look at this fellow. He's obviously not corrupt. He's a little dense. That's all. Okay, come on back in. Come on. I will have the courts tonight. Thank you. I wanted to say everyone did a very impressive job, and I wanted to have you guys. By the way, whose camera were we using before?
My camera with my phone.
You know what? If anybody wants a picture taken of them separately in their toga,
I will take them. I'll put all of them on Facebook.
We should do it.
wow! I don't even know what that is. Yes.
Well, you can just take
Can
it.
you do what?
Everybody?
Can we take it? Yes, we could. But first, we have to announce the vote. The court stenographer.
Okay.
We'll now announce the vote. I want to thank the court stenographer on behalf of the court for doing an excellent job.
On the charge of corrupting the youth, the jury found Socrates not guilty on a vote of 16 to 5. On the
Nice. This is when you start crying.
on the charge of impiety, the jury found Socrates not guilty on a vote of 12 to 10.
10. Oh, that was close. Yay for the 10 of you.
Now, how are you? Okay. So we want to thank everyone here. Actually, I believe that you are guilty, Socrates, on the charge of impiety. But you made such a good case that we're not going to go into that now. And we would like everyone to come on up here and you can take a picture.
Grady can take